As you probably know by now, this is the unboxing and overview of the Dvr8-4600 8-channel CCTV kit by Swann. My particular kit came with 4 cameras, although hence the 8 channels, you can go to 8 cameras. Inside the main box there are 2 more boxes. One of them is this one here, which includes all of the cameras and the cables for them. And inside the other box there is a DVR and all the cables for that. So first off, on opening this particular box, you will find the paperwork. So just leave that aside, unless you want to go in and read it. You also find all the mounting hardware for the cameras. So this is enough for the 4 cameras. Although if you are going to be managing the cables, you're going to have to get some additional cable management for that. Moving on, we go on to the cables. So it comes with 4 18-meter cables. So that is enough for 1 for each camera. And each of these cables includes, or it's technically 2 cables just attached together. But they include 1 BNC connection, which will go to the camera for video, and 1 power connection, which will go for the camera for power. These cables are specifically made for going outdoors, so that means that they're going to be weather resistant, so they're not going to degrade so much in sunlight and also in harsh weather. We also have this power splitter, which will go from the power brick, which I'll show you in a moment, to each of the 4 cables for the cameras, so you're only actually using 1 power socket. And then the power brick itself is nothing fancy, but that will go into the power splitter I just showed you, and it's rated for 2 amps at 12 volts, which is what the cameras use. And finally we move on to the cameras themselves. So these cameras are white, so they're not going to fit every single property, but it should fit a fair number of them, and if you do want to, you should be able to just paint it yourself, although I'm not entirely certain what that would do in terms of warranty. The cameras are 1080p in quality, which is very good, especially considering the price of these systems, which I get onto a bit later on. The sensor inside, which is a reason for the 1080p quality, is a Sony sensor. So these are going to be the most common one you find there in your smartphones. Most companies who don't make their own sensors will use Sony sensors, just because they're made in such a high volume. And around them you'll see all of the infrared LEDs, which will make it possible to see at night up to 13 meters with these specific cameras. And then you've also got the daylight sensor, which will be able to tell if it's dark enough to turn on the LEDs to make a difference. Going on to the back, you can see where it mounts to the wall, so that will be with the included mounting hardware for that. And you can also see here that you can adjust the camera rotation, so that is spinning the end round, and also how much it tilts, which is by using that one there. So every time you want to do that, you want to loosen them with an included tool, and then you can move it around to tighten them back up afterwards. And finally we come to the final box. So on opening this box, it opens slightly different. You actually get faced with some very nice packaging. This is in fact soft foam. I'll get onto that in just a moment though. You also get another booklet. This has warranty, which I would recommend to sign up to, otherwise you won't get your extended warranty. So this is actually soft foam, and the reason why I really like soft foam particularly is this is very good for protecting anything in terms of shipping. Hard foam, which is what you find generally on products, will break after it's been hit once. Soft foam will not break, and therefore it's going to be protected, for the product at least, far more. So let's say if you were shipping a hard drive, which is in fact included in this, will break after being dropped once. But with hard foam, it can survive 2 drops most of the time. With soft foam, it should be able to survive far more drops, although a hard drive being a hard drive, it's going to break at some point from being dropped. So I'll get onto the DVR in a moment. First off, I'll actually go over all of the other hardware it's got included. So first off, you'll find a mouse. This is nothing special, but it is nice to include a mouse in that you've therefore got everything you need to set up, or at least the majority of what you need to set up. You've also got a HDMI cable, which is nice that they've included. It is a HDMI cable with Ethernet, so this allows for greater bandwidth, and it's also gold-plated on the ends. So this is going to allow for more durability over time. You also have one Ethernet cable. I do not know which type of Ethernet cable it includes, although I suspect it's going to be a 5E, considering that it's not going to really benefit anymore to have a Cat6 or Cat7 even cable. And finally, you get the power brick for the DVR unit itself. So this one is rated the exact the same as the other power brick, but it just looks slightly different, but it's nothing to particularly fuss over. It's nice that they've included it to the exact same specifications, as it means that you can mix and match with each one, considering these are the same size. And that means that you're actually not going to be also able to accidentally damage your unit if you do use the incorrect plug. And finally, we move on to the DVR unit itself. So the DVR unit is very small in size, so this is going to be helpful for putting it into small places, let's say cupboards and stuff like that, so it's more hidden away. And in fact, my first initial reaction is that they've made it out of plastic. Well, apart from the metal, of course, on the base. I'm not a fan of using plastic, although it's nice to see that it's a matte plastic, so fingerprints aren't as much as a magnet for it. It's not the best of construction materials, but it is okay in this case, and this is just going to be placed somewhere and then not really touched. So you can see this how you want to. I'm not a fan of it, but it does its job. They have included 2 stickers on the top of it. One of them, which is this one here, is a QR code, so that will be useful for connecting your phone to it. Very nice that they've included that, and that is going to be just for this DVR unit, so there's going to be a different one on every single other DVR unit you find. And you also get this notice here, which is just saying, don't place heavy items on this, because it will probably break it. That, again, is going to be because it's made out of plastic, so plastic isn't as strong as metal. Around the side, you get some ventilation, and on the other side, you get some more ventilation. In fact, if we turn it back over here, you can see inside there is a hard drive just there at the front, so that is taking up the entire front of this unit. And there's a fan just here, which is quite small, and therefore it is reasonably loud, but it shouldn't be a problem if you put this, let's say, in a cupboard. If you do put this somewhere like in your living room, you will notice this, and I would actually not recommend to put it in your living room just because of that. Moving over to the bottom, you can see where you got mounts. Some of these are for hard drives already, although it may be possible to mount to a wall considering the other 4 brackets here, although I haven't tried this out. On the back, you can see all of the connectivity. So first off, there are 8 BNC connections for cameras. So 4 of these can be populated out of the box with the 4 cameras. But for more cameras, you've got a bit of expandability there. Audio in if you put a microphone somewhere, so you can record audio, and audio out for a speaker. So this will be useful, let's say, for putting a CCTV camera on your door, have an audio in, so when somebody goes to your door, they can say, hey, it's me, and then you can say on audio out, you can go, okay, come in, or something like that. Okay. You've also got video out, so this is HDMI, which go to majority of monitors, or VGA to some older monitors. I wish it included a Vga cable, but they didn't. It's kind of a shame considering that there is connectivity for it. But Vga monitors aren't very common these days, or at least they're not nearly as common as they used to be. There was also eSATA for an external hard drive or something like that. Again, they haven't included a cable for this, although if you do get a hard drive or something like that connected over eSATA, you probably either have an eSATA cable lying around at home, or it should come with one. Moving on, you get 2 USB ports. So this is again for connecting something like a USB stick or the mouse to the unit to have control. You also got Ethernet, so that's going to be for connecting this to your router so you can get off-site viewing and alerts, etc. And PTZ, which is pan, tilt, and zoom. So this is for cameras which can control the abilities of it, so you can move them around, you can zoom in, you can focus and stuff like that. And finally, there is power in. The hard drive in this unit I particularly like. So it's a 2 terabyte hard drive, so this is going to be enough for about 30 days recording with all 8 cameras plugged in. That is actually quite a bit, and especially considering the price of this, yet again, I'll tell you later on approximately what it is. So that is going to be quite significant. I have actually disassembled this unit a bit, and I've seen that the hard drive they used is in this case a Seagate hard drive. So I cannot guarantee the same hard drive being used in your unit, but it always is going to be a surveillance optimized hard drive. So this means that it can survive being wrote to 24/7. It is a bit slower than normal hard drives, so do not wire this up to your computer. If you're just taking a hard drive out of here, it would be nowhere near as fast as anything else you've used. But it is made to have a very long lifetime in a very stressful situation, which CCTV is probably one of the worst situations a hard drive could be in. So it's nice that they've included something which will actually work. The PCB in here is nothing special. It's in fact it's green, so it's not anything for people who want to have something which looks beautiful. But it does its job, and it has all the connectivity you need, so there's no fussing over there. So it's now been a few days since I did the original unboxing of this unit, and it's given me time to think over things. So starting off with the positives, this is a really nice unit. I've set it up, and the quality of this is incredibly good at 1080p. And then also comparing this to the price, it's actually the same quality as their more expensive IP-based systems, so that's using Ethernet for the cameras, which carries both power and data, rather than the coaxial, which also has a power cable separate. The hard drive size is also really nice in this, with 2 terabytes. That is going to be enough for at least 1 month of recording, depending on the settings you're doing and how many cameras you have plugged in. Moving on to one area which I thought could be improved though, which is including a Vga cable. And the only reason for this is because it's got a VGA port in it, and if you don't have a VGA cable at home, then this isn't really going to be helpful because you either need to go out to the shops again or you need to buy an additional cable, when it should be really included if they've got a VGA port on the back. So who is this system for? Well, I think it's more for homes, as long as it's not a bungalow, as 4 cameras is going to be what you really want as a minimum, although expanding as you grow will be beneficial for the home. It's also good for small businesses, as they may not have anybody particularly tech savvy involved, and it's also going to be on, well, at least normally, one premises, which shouldn't be too big, and therefore 8 cameras is probably the maximum you really need. Although as soon as you start expanding into a medium or large business, this system is not going to be for them. In that case, you're going to be after something more for 16 plus cameras, so you've got enough room to expand. So that is it for this video. If you liked it, then a thumbs up would be much appreciated. Otherwise, put a thumbs down, but also put in the comments down below why you didn't like it, and I can perhaps change this for a future video. If you want to see more of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. We'll put all my latest videos in your subscription feed. And yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.